Hello, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, it appears that nothing has happened on the CBRs in the last, I think actually about a year. But as a matter of fact, a lot has happened the past few weeks. I've had a very busy schedule last year, so I didn't have time to do a lot of work on it. But this week I had a few days off of work, so I took the time to keep on moving along with the build. And actually the bike is running. I can't show it because the carbs are leaking like hell. I got a short clip of the bike running, which I will put in the end of the video. But I won't start it up again because the fuel is really pouring out of the carbs, which is normal. The bike is approximately 30 years old, so the joints are 30 years old in the carbs, and they have been lying in a box for the last 5 years or something like that, so they're just all dried up and cracked. What I did do is I got all the electricity in the bike. I put a new battery in it. I gave the ignition box a new place. I gave the rectifier a new place. And as you can see, it's still looking quite clean. I just need to make a bracket for the dash, which is also working by now. And I need to finish off the inside, the inner wheel guard of the rear wheel, but that's for the next few days, few weeks. I'll see when I have the time to do it. But actually the bike is working as you see it right now. So just to show you what has been done, you see if I turn on the ignition, nothing happens. Okay, nothing happened because the battery was disconnected. I ordered a lithium-ion battery because it was much lighter, and it comes with these two very handy connectors which need to be connected to make the bike, to make sure the bike works. So that was the problem. So I click in the connector, which isn't very easy with one hand. And then let's see what happens if I turn on the contact. Everything switches on. I know the lighting is quite poor, but if I put on the big lights, oh no, if I switch on the lights and then put on the big lights, you can see the icon for the high beam is on. There's also a little light for the side stand, which, let's see if I can demonstrate this. Maybe if I put it right here. If I pick the bike up with one hand, which I don't like to do, and you see, so there wasn't a light, there wasn't a signal light in the dash for the side stand, so I made one. The indicators also work. They're going really fast because there are no indicators connected for the moment. And that's about everything I did. Now I'm just gonna take a second to take off the seat unit so you can see how I arranged everything on the back. I just took off the seat unit, and you can see the bike looks even more aggressive like this, but it's hard to ride it without the seat, of course. But I just took it off so you can see how I fixed all the electrical connections I had to make. So we can see here, this is the ignition box, so this gives a signal to every spark plug when it should fire, if it should fire, blah blah blah. I repositioned it right here. For the moment it's just connected with, it's just mounted with two tie wraps. I don't have the materials yet to make a bracket, but I'm gonna make a bracket using these two holes, which also actually hold the seat unit, but normally it won't have to come apart a lot, so it will be quite neat done if I can just get the materials. I'm waiting for some aluminium. but it hasn't arrived yet. And here I put a rectifier. You can see the battery cables are not yet definitely a final, and there's not yet a final mounting of the battery cables. I just need to make sure this and this is nicely insulated, and then I'm gonna put them inside the frame so that you can see them. And once that is done, I want to make a plate which goes all the way here up until the rear spring, leaving place for the movement of the spring. And that's how it's gonna be finished off. As you can see, but I hope you can see because it's quite dark in here. This is the battery which I showed you in the last video in part number 5, I think. It's a small lithium-ion battery, so it's very, very small actually. And luckily for me, because it was already not that easy to get it into the bike. But I found a place, I made some brackets, I made a frame to put the battery on because the housing of the battery isn't that strong. So you can see there are 4 screws, 2 here and 2 here. If you loosen these screws, you can take out the frame with the battery, and that way you can replace it if it's ever needs to be replaced or took out for maintenance or I don't know, whatever. So that's one of the big things that has been done, getting the battery into place, getting the rectifier and the ignition box in place. And I also made a support bracket for the rear suspension expansion unit. It also comes neatly into the rear seat unit, so it won't be visible from the rear side. It won't be visible from the side, but you still, if necessary, can adjust the suspension through this screw here. One of the things that still need to be done is fabricating a support for the dashboard. My idea is to make something that connects up to here. I'm going to use these 2 screws. So I'm going to use this screw and this screw, and I'm going to make something that bends, that fits over here so it's stable. And my idea was to make sure, to put the dash like this, so the bike will still look very low, very clean. And then I just need to look for a place which won't be that hard, which won't be that much work, to fit the light for the side stand. And then the only thing that's left to do is to program the dash, because it doesn't know what speed corresponds to what speed of the wheel corresponds to what speed of the bike. So I have to tell it that X amount of pulses gives X amount of speed. So then the dashboard will work as it's supposed to. And then I have to look for a rear light, a front light, and maybe some indicators. I don't know what the person who I'm making the bike for wants to, if he wants indicator or not. And I also need to fit some mirrors, but in true cafe racer style, I would like some small round mirrors which fit onto the bar ends, or maybe change the bar ends to something which holds a very small mirror. But I'm gonna see. So as you can see, a lot of progress has been done on the bike, and hopefully I'll see you soon. As Wednesday I'm going to a friend of mine who's gonna rebuild the carbs. It's not that it's that difficult, but I just don't have the time for the moment. And then hopefully we're getting closer to the end if the front and the rear lights arrive here quickly, but we'll have to see. Time will tell. Thanks for watching. I'm putting a clip of the bike running after this, so hope to see you next time. Bye. Just one last thing before I continue the video and show you the clip of the bike running is, of course, I've put engine oil in the bike, I've put coolant in the bike, I've connected everything up, and I'd never heard the bike running because it has been apart. It came in boxes to me. It has been 5 years since it ran. And amazingly enough, but to me, to be honest, that's what I call Honda quality. I just put everything back together. I had to tamper a little bit with the vacuum line that comes from the cylinder head that goes to the fuel tap because it didn't get any fuel. But once that was done, I pressed start and the bike ticked right over. So it was actually, it's in fact incredible that a bike that has been 5 years in boxes in a cold, damp garage, you just put it back together, give it all its fluids, and it starts right up. But that's what happened with this bike. So let's hope everything keeps on going on this with this ease. Bye.